The full-time whistle has just blown at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome. Round 3 of the Six Nations is in the ledger book. And what do you make of that match between Italy and France? The score is going up on your screen now. So obviously go and find out the result, watch the highlights or whatever it is if you don't know. Otherwise, stay tuned. 24 points to 73. An absolute beatdown. Rugby from the gods, from France. Defence from hell. From Italy. There's lots to talk about on this one. Give me your instant thoughts. These are my instant reactions immediately following the game, kind of unfiltered, just splurging it out on the channel. And I'd love to know what you think while it's raw and while it's fresh. In the comments down below, give the video a thumbs up as well. That is, firstly, getting facts out the way, that is the second highest score any team has ever got in Six Nations history. The only time a team scored more points than that was England against Italy as well, when they got 80 points. That was in 2001, so Italy's second ever year in the competition. This is them a quarter of a century in, and at a time when we've been declaring this, understandably, the best Italian side ever, and the fact is maybe it is. But they just got absolutely monstered by France. How much of that, how much would you distribute that as France just being amazing and there's not a lot Italy could do, and how much was it Italy being really under par? I think both things are true. France's attack is incredible, and I'm, as I've said on the channel many times, I'm the kind of person that likes to have a glass half full, and I would prefer to just talk about the brilliant bits of skill, amazing attacking nuance that there is in the French game, and just the pure power. But you have to acknowledge, Italy, that was absolutely awful defence. It was reminiscent of the Rugby World Cup, when you saw Italy against New Zealand and France and just thought there's something fundamentally wrong with that team. And that's what I find so confusing about this. Italy had their best ever Six Nations last year. And then we thought they'd taken big strides further forward. They got the win against Wales last week, so they weren't going to get a wooden spoon. That was fine. And they were playing against a much more fancied France, so they could kind of throw caution to the wind a little bit, which they did in the first 20, 30 minutes. But when the pressure came on for France, and there were lots of reasons why they just carved Italy up. Their pack, the French pack, absolutely dominated Italy. But that, defence-wise, that was not good enough. And I'm not suggesting there is anything fundamentally wrong. Gonzalo Quesada seems to have a good spirit amongst this Italian team, but they will have to ask themselves some searching questions. And I'm sure there will be a reaction when they travel to Twickenham in 2 weeks' time. As for that performance from France, it sets up round 4 absolutely beautifully. Ireland are unbeaten. They've got the triple can in the bank. France have lost one game, so have to beat Ireland. Ireland are coming off a weaker performance, and France about as good as they've played. So it sets it up absolutely brilliantly. Just big picture thoughts. Firstly, France managed to score 73 points with 2 tries disallowed, and no Emmanuel Meafu, no Raman Ntamak, and no Damien Penaud. Not that they really missed him. I reckon a little part of this might be Italy slow marching the anthem. Have you noticed Italy do this? They deliberate. I'm sure it must be deliberate because it happens so often. They must know they're doing it. They deliberately slow down the visitors' national anthem to make it a little bit more of a dirge. And, you know, God Save the King is a bit of a dirge, truth be told. The melody's good, lyrics not so much. La Marseillaise is, you know, makes you want to go and run through a brick wall. And so slowing it down, they might think, oh, we're getting a competitive edge here. They're not going to get as much out of the anthem. I reckon that just angered the French players a little bit more. Probably the reason France came out the blocks absolutely firing. Also, other big picture thoughts. Italy's chances left as soon as the pigeons were off the pitch. I think Italy were running in that first 25 minutes on pigeon power. And they were kind of summoning some spirit from the pigeons. I don't know, maybe France, you know, the pigeons were getting in their eye. Like, I don't know what it is, but In the second half, the pigeons disappeared from the pitch, and I don't think it's a coincidence, is it? You know, really coincidence? Pigeons go, Italy fall to pieces. I just found that I found some slow motion shots of the pigeons in some of the replays. I just found that quite entertaining, I have to say. France's stash is just chef's kiss. Their kit is absolutely beautiful. We got to see their change kit today, and I love the fact they had the blue Adidas logo and the blue stripes on one side. Was it on the left hand side, and the red cockerel emblem and the red stripes on the right hand side of that white kit. Just France's kit game is them and Argentina by a mile best kits in the world. I love it. We also saw Le Bomb Squad, or I don't know, the Frog Squad. What we calling France's Bomb Squad. They had the 7-1 split, and we saw 6 forwards come on all at the same time on 48 minutes. It just, do you know what? The Bomb Squad, when 6 or more, or however many it is, when that many players, particularly large human beings, as it is with all being forwards, including a whole front row, when they all come on at the same time, it just looks cool, doesn't it? I really like it. And you can imagine Alexander Roumas must have taken it very personally when he was the only member of Le Bomb Squad, the forwards not brought on. Antoine Dupont. Talk of his demise have been greatly exaggerated. That guy is a freak. Again, context. Italy's defence was non-existent at times, but there are 2 sides to that, and your glass is half empty or it's half full. Yes, Italy were bad, but equally, how incredible is the way France attack. I just love the way they just drop the hammer. When someone goes through a half gap, people gamble and just run through a hole. They just flood through that hole. The offloads come. They just sort of instinctively know someone will be there. It's so good to watch when they're on. Equally, and you know, if I can selfishly just jump this back a fortnight to the England game, France were much more accurate in their attack, and had they shown the level of accuracy they did against Italy just now, undoubtedly France would have beaten England at Twickenham. But again, there is 2 sides to that story, and England's defence was light years ahead of Italy's, and the context there are occasions when you can force or at least create opportunities where mistakes might happen if your defence is more committed than Italy were. And again, I think the best way you can respect Italy as a rugby team, and I loved that opening half hour. The try from Menoncello, who, by the way, just like gassed a French winger, and those boys are rapid, just gassed a French winger to score. Menoncello's got some wheels. Breck's got that try that Breck scored, absolutely lovely. Capuozzo with some footwork, making a break. Nicolo Canoni in open field, the lovely little switchback offload, gorgeous stuff. Breck's under the post. That try was just awesome. So they did some great stuff, and it looked like it was going to be one of the games for the ages when it was 17-21, something like that, after 20 odd minutes. Crazy first half. It looked like it was going to be amazing. Tries raining in both sides. So I think Italy are a really, really good rugby team. And, you know, I don't think you make a decision about one team. Quite often there is a tendency to recency bias. You watch one match and you make big sweeping statements about an individual or about a team. So you could watch that game and go, Italy are rubbish, they've gone backwards. No, let's see how they do in 2 weeks against Italy. England scored 4 tries against France 2 weeks ago, but looked really, really bad attacking-wise against Scotland yesterday. England's attack's gone backwards. Well, no, they took some steps forward against France. They weren't great against Scotland, but let's see how this goes. Let's look at the trends over a longer period of time. So I'm not going to make snap judgments about Italy. I think they're still a really good team, and I think they could get their first ever win against England in a fortnight if they bring their A game, no question. So I want to respect Italy, and I think the way you respect Italy is by not pulling your punches. And what would I say about Wales? Great against Ireland yesterday. I would say an honest assessment of Wales in round 1 against France, they were absolutely clueless with the ball. Ireland, an assessment of them in Cardiff yesterday, they were not at the races and their set piece creaked. That would be an honest assessment of Ireland. An honest assessment of England against Scotland is their attack lacked ambition. And I think being honest is showing a level of respect to a team. Honest about Italy, their defence was embarrassing in that match. It was woeful. And I love Italy. I really, really want them to be good. I think Gonzalo Quesada's onto a good thing with his team. I think the players are fantastic. But so many of those French tries, when you look back at them, so far too easy. The best example of it was one of the tries when the game was already lost. And there were players in the stands, there were fans in the stands leaving in their droves. And it's not something I've ever done, leaving before the end of a game. As much as anything, because it's not cheap to go. I don't know, maybe it's cheaper in Italy. But when you saw that Atisogbe try, 2 Italians, I mean, Atisogbe, really, really elusive, brilliant footwork, great player, by the way. But to just glide through 2 Italian defenders like they weren't there, just not international standard. That just needs to be called out. And I'm sure the video review of that game for Gonzalo Quesada is going to be pretty uncomfortable to be in. So I was so disappointed with Italy after an absolutely amazing opening half hour of that game. Yeah. So what were the tries? There was try disallowed for Barret, Leo Barret, I'll talk about him. Menoncello scores. That's like a 14-point swing and you're thinking, game on. Italy are 7-0 up, could have been 7-0 down. This could be theirs. They go ahead after Malvaca, Malvaca scores from a maul. That puts France ahead. Dupont scores a try. Leo Barret created that one as well. But then Brex manages to pin them back and they're in the game and you're thinking, right, okay, they've weathered a storm and they're in this. But then it just pulled away. There were tries by Boudehon and Barret, both set up by Dupont. And I forget who the other tries were. There was so many of them. Who were they? I don't know. There's so many. 11 tries in total. Barret, Atisogbe, Louis Bielbiere, Lebip getting in there again. Aldrit got a try. Yeah, so it went from 2 prize-fighting heavyweight champions throwing haymakers at each other in what looked like it was going to go to a 15-rounder. It ended up being France, holding their opponent out at arm's reach and just filling them in for about 50 minutes of the game. Shame. Could have been amazing. But let's emphasise the positives. How good are France to watch when they're on? Whatever defence is up against them, if they can just put it together and actually execute, they're amazing. Leo Barret, the mad thing about him is when everyone's fit, he might not get in the French team. And he looks incredible. I don't know, maybe Ntamack will be the one. Maybe that red card could be really costly for Romain Ntamack. But the one thing Leo Barret does is he adds a level of solidity, which I mean, Thomas Ramos is so good just now. It's hard to see him not being in the French team. But Leo Barret is, along with Romain Burros, they're the 2 French fullbacks who are good aerially and really good in open field broken play as well. They're good running with the ball, but they're good under the high ball, which is one thing France have been exposed with. So I just wonder if Barret and Burros might well be the people that get the nod. And the way Ramos is playing, that might mean Ntamack is going to have to make do with a spot on the bench. Or if they keep going 7-1 split, out of the team. Bring on Ireland, I guess. So good. I will have a team of the week coming. I'll have more reaction coming on the channel. I'm going to be down there in the comments with you. I'm interested to know what you say. And am I being harsh on Italy? Or actually, is honesty required when it comes to Italy? Because actually, you know, they've shown that they are a legit rugby team who can go toe-to-toe with these teams. And so at home especially, we should expect more from Italy, however good France are. But that said, let's end on the fact that France are very, very good. And yeah, fair play Galtier. 7-1 split, some big calls selection-wise, leaving Penaud out. It paid off, can't argue with it. Right, I'll see you on the next one.